Okay, everyone, here we are with the July update of MBH Capital Management, here with Jordy, Investor Relations. We wanted to do a little something different when we send out this email to everyone to just give a little more context about basically what's driving our returns and have a more consistent cadence of showing you guys how we think about this and if we make any adjustments and basically go on and so forth. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. This should be pretty quick, but I want to walk you guys through this. Oops, let's present. So this is just our complete since inception of November performance. So since November of 23, we've done 77.5% net, 24% CAGR net, 1.74 after fee with a correlation of 0.04 to the S&P and a beta of 0.04. So zero beta pure alpha is our goal. Then here's our return series of net return over time. Last month, we did 2.29% net with a 5.93% net return year to date. You'll see here we sold, we did about $1 million in premium, and then our net Sharp was 2.66. We had 936 trades, around a 63% win rate. We expect that to be about 65 over time. And then our basically expected value or capture of what we sold was 5.4%. And we expect that to be around 5 to 7% over time. So basically normal month all throughout without that performance. Then another thing I wanted to break down is we've basically attributed our profit centers into 4 buckets for our fund. We have volatility. Obviously, that's going to be a big stake of what we do, mainly because we're mostly selling options. Then we have a market neutral option selling strategy, which you could think of it as kind of like a relative value, whether volatility is up or down, it's still profitable. And then we have trend, which is kind of going with the direction of the market, expressing it through options, and then obviously just the collateral interest of the account.
And Mark, yeah,
Yeah.
quick question. Somebody looking at that, you see, I mean, we list the PCR of each of these. Of course, immediate question is why would you not increase the volatility stake that has like a double the average PCR, a higher win rate, and why don't you ditch trend?
Yeah, so it's going to vary month by month. We can start to show year-end stuff, but the idea of our trading is that when certain environments are present, the system will naturally adapt. So it will sell more volatility when the volatility seems overpriced. If it's trending hard, it will sell more trend. So volatility and trend are generally going to be pretty negatively correlated. If the market trends very hard, that generally means volatility is understated. Volatility should lose, trend should offset that. And then market neutral is basically a zero correlation to volatility and trend. So if we're ever going to have that conversation, it's why are we selling market neutral? But basically the reasons we have these is volatility and trend are basically ballast for one another on a seesaw. So one should offset the other. Market neutral basically has no correlation to any of them and also will provide a way to add more size and increase more returns without being exposed to trend or volatility. And then cash interest is obviously kind of just a product of us trading. I can answer more specific questions, but they should be kind of a ballast, and then market neutral should be in between.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Then another thing I wanted to introduce. So we have seen the overall risk premium of the zero DT market kind of decay precipitously over, even the last 2 years. And what I wanted to highlight is that our returns are generated from basically 2 functions, which is the overall risk premium of the market. So if the risk premium of the market is the $0 expected value, which should probably be the floor, and then we have filters or gates that will allow us to take about 50% of trades, let's say. So what we've seen is the overall risk premium of the market fluctuates up and down 3 to 4 standard deviations. So like massive amounts. And when I say risk premium of the market, I mean blindly selling every half an hour on both sides, like a condor, just shorting volatility. And that could be a 10% expected value to a negative 10% expected value. And historically, that was about half of our returns. And to give you context, up until about the last 9 months, by selling every single entry, granted you're selling double the premium of what we do because our filters take about half the entries, it outperformed on a total basis, but underperformed on a risk adjusted basis for about 40 months. So we've responded to the risk premium in the market coming down over time is to basically only sell our gated entries now, which we started in July. And you can see here, if you would have taken every single signal from where we sample in our fund, you would have taken 1,200 trades last month, and you would have had a P&L of negative $451,000. And then with our book, we basically did not take 316 setups, and we were able to generate, profitable setups through identifying this. So a lot of people have asked us, hey, what's going on with performance? What I wanted to do is I wanted to break this down a little more, showing that a portion of our returns are generated through, do we get good execution on slippage? And then how is the overall market behaving? So the risk premium of the market, that fluctuates 3 to 4 standard deviations up or down for profitable to unprofitable. And that's often when you see we have very good quarters or flat quarters. And then our gate or filter that we use has never fluctuated above 1 standard deviation through all of our testing and through all of live trading. So the consistency is basically if the risk premium's 0%, our gate will basically be 10% above that. If the risk premium's negative 10%, with our gate and or filter will basically be 0. If the risk premium's 10%, we'll basically be 10% above that with our gate and or filter. So you can see here that we're still not seeing that 0 DT performance bad really come back. But even though this is the worst stretch in observed 0 DT over any basically 9-month stretch, what I did is I did what's called a permutation, which is where you take 4-day blocks from all of the data, and then you run that through like 1,000 randomizations, kind of like a Monte Carlo. And right now we're in the 11th percentile of performance if we look at the permutation, not the worst 9-month brick because that's a small sample. So it's not really concerning. I think of it more as a coiled spring. It's something to look at. If we get to 3% or 4% of occurrences in permutation, then it can be a lot more concerning of what we're doing. But as we've seen this overall risk premium come down towards that 10th percentile to adjust to hit our return target, we've basically just only started trading these gated entries, which you can see worked well this month. So we're seeing volatility offset trend in our families, and then we're also seeing that the gate working as we see the risk premium comes down. The next thing, and this really killed us last quarter where we had about 41 cents of slippage on average.
So,
Is,
Mark, sorry
yeah,
before we get into slippage. So, what you're saying, what would be a one sentence summary of what's happening with the premium? You're saying that it has decayed, right? We're seeing that decay, but with our signal, we can do better than just blindly selling that, just buying a bot off the shelf. Is that right?
yeah, so I'll say it 2 ways. So basically the overall risk premium of the market, which would just be selling every entry indiscriminately, is about at its 11th percentile of performance. So that does not necessarily say it's broken, especially since we often see the risk premium fluctuate up or down 3 to 4 standard deviations, like a lot. So it's down and it's been consistently down, and it's something to definitely look at because we're at that 11th percentile. However, what we do to respond to this is instead of picking up blind risk premium, which we did with about 20% of our portfolio in the past, we now only trade our gated entries, and our gated and or filtered entries have never fluctuated beyond 1 standard deviation. So the consistency of our profitability, which is whatever the risk premium is generating plus 10%, which is what we're doing, and that's 10% expected value, which would be around a 15% net return for
Mm-hmm.
everyone if 0 DT had no general risk premium, we see is very consistent. So I'm happy to iron that out more, Jordy, but does that make sense?
Yeah, so basically what you're saying is you're seeing certain things changing, but you're not concerned. That I think that sums it
It's
up. Like it's not nothing's broken to the point that we cannot make money, basically.
Yes, like it's within expected of where the overall risk premium performance is. I think what most people need to take away is it's like we obviously have back test. Historically, the risk premium of the overall market is around, you know, 2.5 to 5% expected value. It's been about 0 this year. So that's obviously going to be a big headwind for, I mean, big headwind for us being able to reach our target return. But our research and our gate of what we've done has been as consistent as it's ever been. Just what we're trading is not as well. The analogy I kind of like to give people is like imagine if you were flipping homes. Um, if the interest rate is higher, it materially affects the ability you can flip that home for, but it does not affect your ability to get the deal, renovate the house well, and so on and so forth. So we're just seeing those headwinds kind of come against us for performance. And again, it is very volatile, the overall risk premium. So it could bounce back precipitously, and we could have another one of those 10% months or whatever. We don't know if it's happening, but the
Yeah.
other main takeaway is like we'll continue to update on this and watch it. We'll update you guys if it gets to like second or third percentile, then we can say something's broken. But the 11th percentile, I'm not really worried
Awesome.
about. Yeah.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks.
Then the other thing that affects our performance is basically what I call the executional risk premium. So this is the price we pay to get out of a trade. Obviously, to manage our risk, we have to cross the bid-ask spread to close out a sold option to be a bought option. What we do is we budget for basically 2 ticks. So you get triggered, there's a 10-cent tick, which would put you at 20-cent slippage, and then we budget another $5 for larger fills. Last quarter, this was about 41-cent slippage, which if the risk premium is basically zero and our gate provides a 10 to 15% benefit, that got rid of all of our profit. You can see again this month, it's very normal that we've seen. Our median fill was exactly 1 tick. Our worst 10% was 61 cents. Our worst 5 cents is 122, and our worst 2.5 was 275. So this essentially behaves perfectly. It allows us to harvest the risk premium. If this were to be 50 cents, we would basically be break even when our signals are choosing to take the right thing. So this is another huge driver of returns, is basically what's the overall risk premium of the market, and then did our spread or our filter provide us the value that our test imply, and then were we able to get out the cost. So we anticipate all these 3 to be very normal, but giving a context of what these are, we can understand that everything is working as normal except for slippage. We expect that to mean revert. If this were to get higher, we could obviously budget more in the future, but I just want to show the factors that kind of drive the returns of what we're doing. And then here are just some disclosures. Obviously, you have to be an accredited investor. This is all hypothetical based on back tests. We show net and gross returns. If you want to book a call, we'll have it in the description or reply back to our email. I'll kind of close it there. If you had any more questions, Jordy, or anything.
No, I think, anybody that has like specific concerns or something, because I mean, of course, we're going quite fast here, just please book a call and we can discuss in more detail what's going on. And obviously, this is within the allocation of that anybody decides to allocate. So as we always say, allocate responsibly, diversify. That's never going to change. So yeah, that's my last comment.
Yeah, and then I think we'll eventually do these lives, but if you guys have questions that you want us to cover, anything that could be more clear, again, feel free to respond to the email or put it in the comments, and we'll kind of address it on the next one. But we just wanted to break down what's going on. So we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thank you.